You are 12 years old and someone has just handed you more money than your mother makes in 6 months. All you had to do was stand on a corner for 3 hours and whistle when you saw police. Welcome to Medellin. This is how an empire that made hundreds of millions of dollars a week built itself from the bottom up. Not with boardrooms first, not with private airstrips first, with boys. Poor boys from the comunas who learned early that the law did not protect them, school would not save them, and the fastest money in the city belonged to men willing to turn children into infrastructure. This is the Medellin Cartel ladder. And like most ladders in that world, it does not begin with power. It begins with poverty, invisibility, and the first small choice that teaches you how easy it is to get paid for helping violence move. Level 1. The spotter. You live in the comunas, the crowded neighborhoods climbing the hills above Medellin like unfinished concrete. Water fails half the time. Your father is gone. Your mother cleans houses for people who would never let her through the front door. Then your cousin introduces you to a man with work. Real work, he says. Stand here, watch for police. Whistle twice if you see them. He pays you in advance. That is the important part. The money arrives before the danger does. Your job is simple, but the machine depends on it. Cocaine paste moves in from rural labs. Refined product moves towards stash houses and distribution points. Cash moves back up the chain. Every route needs eyes. Every block needs a kid the police will not notice. A kid who blends into the neighborhood and can vanish into an alley the second something goes wrong. You are not the only one. There are dozens like you across the hills, maybe hundreds. A network of children watching intersections, rooftops, alley mouths, and bus stops. You learn quickly. That car circling the block is not lost. Those two men in casual clothes walk too carefully to be neighbours. That helicopter over the next comuna means everyone lower in the chain should already be moving. You also learn something else. Some police are dangerous, some are already bought. The ones taking money barely look at you. The ones who still care are the problem. This level teaches you the first rule of the cartel. Information is survival. See first, warn first, run first. Stay here too long though and you remain disposable. A child on a corner is useful, but not important. The only way to become harder to replace is to move deeper into the system. Level 2. The courier. After months of showing up, staying quiet, and never skimming from the cash, they move you up. Now you carry. Small packages at first. A wrapped brick of money. An envelope. A tape bundle under your shirt while you ride a city bus across town trying to look bored. You are 13. You are skinny. You are forgettable. That is why you are valuable. The cartel understands something before most institutions do. Children are invisible. Police look for men, vehicles, guns, panic. They do not search every school bag. They do not suspect every kid staring out a bus window. So you move what matters. Cash upward, product downward, instructions sideways. One apartment this week, a mechanic shop the next, then a restaurant kitchen where a cook takes your package and hands you another without looking at your face for more than a second. You do not ask what you are carrying. You are not stupid. But you are learning the shape of the machine. Different neighborhoods, different crews, different handlers, all connected by movement. Nothing sits still. The system breathes through couriers. You meet other kids doing the same work. Some are your age, some are younger. One of them is 9 and proud of how much money he makes. 3 months later, they find him in a ditch with bullets in his head because he happened to be holding the wrong package on the wrong day. That is the second lesson. This work pays better than anything else available to someone like you. It also has a timer attached. Stay low in the chain and the odds catch you. Prison, a stray bullet, a raid, a rival crew making an example out of whoever is easiest to reach. If you want to survive, you have to become more dangerous than disposable. Level 3. The sicario. You are 15 when somebody decides you have potential. Not school potential, not future potential, operational potential. A recruiter tied to one of the neighborhood bosses pulls you aside and offers what he calls real work. What he means is violence. The cartel needs sicarios. It needs killers to enforce debts, punish mistakes, eliminate rivals, intimidate police, and keep routes open through fear. It needs boys who can follow instructions and pull triggers before conscience catches up. You say yes. Partly because you are afraid to say no, partly because the money is real, mostly because in your world this is what moving up looks like. The training is practical and ugly. Pistols, motorcycles, quick escapes, masking your face, dumping weapons, never carrying evidence longer than necessary. No speeches, no ideology, just method. Your first job is not murder. It is a message. A shopkeeper stopped paying protection money. You are told to walk in, shoot him in the leg, and leave. You do it. Your hands shake. The man screams. You run. Then you vomit in an alley and go home for dinner. After that, the work becomes easier in the worst possible way. Not morally easier, mechanically easier. Your hands stop shaking. The sound of gunfire stops surprising you. You complete jobs and move on to the next one because everyone around you treats that as normal. And in this world, normal is contagious. Soon, you are part of a crew. 6 men from the same neighborhoods, all answering to the same lieutenant. That proximity matters. A crew means protection, instruction, and access. It means you are no longer just a street asset. You belong to a layer of the organization that can actually rise. And by now you understand the real deal the cartel offers boys like you. It is not just money, it is transformation. If the city already thinks your life is cheap, the cartel offers to make it expensive. Level 4. The lieutenant. You are 19 when your boss singles you out. He has noticed that you do not panic under pressure. He has noticed that you follow instructions precisely and do not talk afterward. In this business, discretion matters more than courage. Loud men die early. Quiet men get promoted. Now you run your own crew. 5 shooters report to you. You assign jobs, coordinate movement, collect payment, and pass most of it upward while keeping your cut. For the first time in your life, the money feels less like survival than more like power. At this level, the cartel finally becomes legible. Pablo Escobar is at the top, but he did not build the empire alone. The Ochoa brothers help manage routes and deals. Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha supplies manpower and logistics. Carlos Leda builds key international transport channels. Gustavo Gaviria helps run production. Each major figure controls his own territory, people, and money, but Escobar's network holds the center together. That is what made Medellin so dangerous. It was not just one gang. It was a federation of traffickers made stronger by cooperation and held together by infrastructure, money, and fear. And the scale is beyond anything the boys in the comunas can imagine. Tons of cocaine move every day. America is flooded. Los Angeles belongs to Medellin. Other cities are divided or contested. Profits are so large that the organization cannot even spend or hide the money cleanly. Cash gets buried on farms because there is too much of it to launder fast enough. Your role in this system expands. Now you are not just sending violence downwards. You are helping enforce the financial order that keeps the machine intact. Collections, debts, threats, protection payments, plata or plomo, silver or lead. Take the bribe and cooperate, or reject it and die. By this point, the language of the cartel has entered your nervous system. You do not experience these decisions as moral decisions anymore. They are functions. A route must be protected. A debt must be paid. A message must be delivered. The person on the receiving end is just the place where policy becomes pain. That is how you know you are climbing. Not because you have more men, because things that once horrified you now feel administrative. Level 5. The specialist. Then the war with the state intensifies and the ladder changes shape again. Extradition treaties threaten the bosses. Judges refuse bribes. Politicians start talking about law, order, and cooperation with the Americans. Escobar responds the way he usually responds, by widening the violence until the whole country feels it. This is where the cartel stops looking like a criminal organization and starts looking like a private war machine. Your specialty becomes strategic violence. Maybe not building bombs yourself, but selecting targets, coordinating crews, scouting routes, controlling timing, making sure intimidation scales beyond one neighborhood and becomes national pressure. Police stations, government offices, newspaper targets. Anyone the bosses need frightened, silenced, or broken. The point is not random chaos. The point is leverage. By now, the cartel has evolved far beyond smuggling. It has its own intelligence, its own armies of sicarios, its own external allies, its own internal enforcement culture. Paramilitary logic enters the bloodstream of the organization. Professional training appears. Foreign contacts matter. The line between trafficker, terrorist, and irregular military actor starts collapsing. And you are deep inside that machine. You have money now. Real money. Your family eats well. Your sister finishes school. People in the neighborhood speak your name carefully. You have achieved exactly what the 12-year-old on the corner thought he wanted. But the cost is visible now too. You no longer think like a poor boy who found work. You think like a man whose survival depends on managing fear efficiently. Level 6. The survivor. Then everything starts breaking. Los Pepes emerge. Former allies turn. Rival traffickers finance revenge. The state closes in harder. Properties burn. Associates disappear. Men who swore loyalty last year begin making deals this year. The federation that looked invincible starts cracking because it was always held together by force, money, and Escobar's gravity. When Escobar dies in 1993, the empire collapses fast. That is what happens when a system built on fear loses the man best positioned to organize it. The Ochoas negotiate. Others die, others run, some rot in prison. But pieces of the machinery survive, especially the enforcement wing. What was once part of Escobar's structure evolves into something more flexible, less mythic, and in some ways more durable. That is the final lesson of the Medellin ladder. The men change. The neighborhoods do not. You are 31 now, which already makes you unusual. Most boys who started where you started do not get this far. They die in alleys, on motorcycles, in prisons, in raids, in revenge killings, or in the cheap anonymous ways violent systems dispose of excess personnel. But you lasted, and that means you get to see the ugliest part clearly. The cartel did not create the poverty of the comunas. It did something colder. It weaponized it. It found boys with no real exits and converted hunger into surveillance, errands into conspiracy, violence into advancement, and survival into loyalty. Now you look at the kids on the corners and see yourself. Same hunger, same calculation. Same understanding that a short, dangerous life with money can look better than a long, miserable one without it. That is why the machine never really stops. The names change. The leaders change. The routes change. The city remains full of boys who can be bought cheaply because the world around them has already priced them low. Somewhere in Medellin, a 12-year-old just got handed more cash than his mother makes in 6 months. He is standing on a corner, learning when to whistle. He thinks he is being offered a way out. What he is really being offered is a place in the engine. And if he climbs high enough, survives long enough, and deadens himself thoroughly enough, one day he will look back and understand the real price was never just the risk of dying. It was becoming the kind of man who could help a machine like that run and still call it opportunity.